When perfect wasn't enough, a story of betrayal and redemption. Part 1. Before the business trip to Seattle was supposed to last exactly 1 week, 7 days, 168 hours. I'd counted them out mentally as I packed my suitcase, laying out shirts and ties with the methodical precision that had become second nature to me after 12 years in corporate finance. "Do you really need to take so many files?" Elena asked from the doorway of our bedroom, her arms crossed over her chest. She was wearing that oversized sweater I'd bought her last Christmas, the cream-colored one that made her look soft and comfortable, like home itself. "The Henderson acquisition won't close itself," I replied, not looking up from my laptop case. "Besides, I'll have downtime in the hotel. Might as well be productive." She was quiet for a moment. I could feel her watching me, could sense something unsaid hovering in the air between us. But when I finally glanced up, she was smiling. That small, patient smile I'd grown accustomed to over our 4 years of marriage. "Of course," she said. "I just thought, maybe you could try to relax a little. It's been such a stressful quarter." "After the Henderson deal closes," I promised, zipping the laptop case with a decisive sound. "Then we'll take that vacation you've been wanting. Maybe Hawaii or Greece?" Her smile brightened, and I felt a small surge of satisfaction. See, I was a good husband. I listened. I remembered. I provided. Elena came closer and wrapped her arms around me from behind, resting her cheek against my back. "I'm gonna miss you," she whispered. "It's only a week," I said, patting her hands where they clasped across my chest. "You'll barely notice I'm gone." Looking back now, I can see the irony in those words, the cruel, sharp irony that cuts deeper every time I remember saying them. She held me a moment longer, and I noticed her grip was tighter than usual, almost desperate. But I was already mentally reviewing my presentation slides, already thinking about the flight times and the hotel check-in and the dinner meeting scheduled for my first evening in Seattle. "Hey," I said, turning in her arms to look at her properly. "Everything okay?" "Yes," she said quickly. Too quickly. "Of course, I'm just being silly. It's only a week, like you said." I kissed her forehead, a brief, distracted kiss, and returned to my packing. If I'd known what would happen during that week, would I have stayed? Would I have looked at her more carefully, listened more closely, asked better questions? I don't know, but I should have. Part 2. The first cracks. The flight to Seattle was smooth, the hotel efficient, the first 2 days of meetings productive. I called Elena each evening, our conversations following the comfortable script they'd followed for months now. "How was your day?" I'd ask. "Good. Quiet. I finished that book I was reading. How about you?" "Exhausting. 3 meetings back to back, then a working dinner with the Henderson team. I think we're close to breakthrough on the valuation issue." "That's great, honey. I'm proud of you." "Thanks. What did you do for dinner?" "Just a salad. Wasn't really hungry." "You should eat more. You're too thin." "I know. I will. I love you." "Love you too. Talk tomorrow?" "Of course. Good night." Generic, safe. Boring, if I'm being honest. But isn't that what marriage becomes? The comfortable rhythm of shared life, the easy predictability of knowing someone so well that surprise becomes impossible? On the 3rd day, something shifted. I'd stayed late at the Seattle office, hammering out details on a particularly complex clause in the acquisition agreement. By the time I got back to my hotel room, it was past midnight on the West Coast past 3 a.m. in Boston, where Elena should have been sound asleep. But when I opened our messaging app, I saw that she'd been active just 15 minutes earlier. It was a small thing, barely worth noticing. She could have gotten up for water, checked her phone out of habit, scrolled mindlessly through social media before falling back asleep. I did it myself sometimes, but something about it nagged at me. I called her. The phone rang 4 times long enough that I'd started composing a voicemail message in my head before she answered. "Hello?" Her voice was breathless, almost startled. Hey, it's me. Did I wake you? Oh, Michael. No, I was just in the bathroom. Is everything okay? Yeah, fine. Just got back to the hotel. Wanted to hear your voice. There was a pause, a beat too long. That's sweet, she said. How was your day? We talked for maybe 5 minutes, and the whole time I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Her answers were slightly delayed, as if she was distracted. Once, I could have sworn I heard a sound in the background, a muffled thump, like something being set down carefully. Is someone there? I asked. What? No, of course not. Why would someone be here at 3 in the morning? I don't know. I just thought I heard something. Probably just the neighbors. You know how thin these walls are. The couple next door fights constantly. She was right. Our apartment building did have thin walls, but the couple next door had moved out 2 months ago. I'd helped them carry boxes to the moving truck. I didn't mention it. Okay, I said instead. Well, I should let you get back to sleep. Okay. Love you. Love you too. After I hung up, I sat on the edge of the hotel bed for a long time, phone in hand, staring at nothing. That conversation had felt wrong somehow, stilted, performative. But I was tired. The negotiations had been intense. I was probably just reading too much into a simple late-night call. I set the phone on the nightstand and went to brush my teeth, determinedly pushing the unease out of my mind. Part 3. The Unraveling. The next day, I couldn't concentrate on the meetings. My mind kept drifting back to that phone call, to Elena's breathless voice, to the strange background noise I'd heard. During the lunch break, I called her. It went straight to voicemail. I tried again an hour later. Voicemail. Finally, at 3 p.m., 6 p.m. in Boston, she texted back, Sorry, phone died. At my cousin Melissa's. Charging now. Everything okay? Relief washed through me, followed immediately by embarrassment at my own paranoia. Of course, she was at Melissa's. They'd been planning to get together this week. Elena had mentioned it before I left, though I'd been too focused on preparing for the trip to pay much attention. All good, I texted back. Say hi to Melissa for me. Will do. Love you. But that evening, when I called, she was distracted again. I could hear voices in the background, laughter that didn't quite sound like Melissa's usual throaty chuckle. Sounds like a party there, I commented. Oh, Melissa invited a few people over. Kind of impromptu. Anyone I know? Another pause. Just some of her work friends. And her fiance, obviously. David's here. David, Melissa's fiance of 2 years, perpetually delayed wedding, perpetually waiting for the right moment. I'd met him a handful of times at family gatherings. Nice enough guy, investment banker, talked too much about his portfolio. Tell David I said hello, I offered. I will. Hey, I should probably go. We're about to start a movie. Sure, have fun. You too. How are the meetings going? Good, really good actually. I think we'll close this week. That's wonderful, Michael. I knew you could do it. We said our goodbyes, and I tried to focus on the room service menu in front of me. But the unease was back, stronger now. Something in Elena's voice, some quality I couldn't quite name, kept replaying in my mind. I opened my laptop and pulled up her social media profiles, something I rarely did. Elena wasn't much of a poster. Her Instagram was mostly photos of her artwork. She illustrated children's books from home, a career that had taken off in the last year. Occasional snapshots of our apartment, pictures of us at weddings or holiday gatherings. The last post was from 3 days ago, a photo of her morning coffee and sketchbook, captioned, Monday Motivation. Nothing suspicious, nothing at all. I checked Facebook. Even less activity there. She'd stopped posting regularly months ago, saying it felt too performative, too much like curating a fake life for other people to consume. On impulse, I checked Melissa's profiles. And that's where I saw it. A photo posted 4 hours ago. Melissa, Elena, and 3 other people sitting around a living room, wine glasses raised to the camera. The caption read, Impromptu wine night with the best people. I zoomed in on the photo, studying the faces. Melissa on the left, beaming. Elena next to her, laughing at something off camera. Two women I didn't recognize. And on the far right, partly cut off by the edge of the frame, a man, not David. David was tall and blonde with a runner's build. This man was darker, shorter, broader in the shoulders. And he was looking at someone outside the frame with an expression I couldn't quite read. Warmth, maybe. Fondness. I scrolled through the comments, mostly generic stuff. Looks fun. Wish I was there. Save some wine for me. Then, near the bottom, I saw one from David himself. Sorry I couldn't make it tonight. Tell everyone I said hi, especially that bastard Jake who owes me $20, Jake. So David wasn't there, and there was a man named Jake who apparently knew the group well enough to owe David money. I clicked on David's profile and scrolled until I found a photo from 2 months ago. David and another man standing next to a grill at what looked like a backyard barbecue. The caption, BBQ with my brother from another mother. This guy, a Jake Morrison. I clicked the tag. Jake Morrison, 32 years old, worked in graphic design, lived in Boston. His profile picture showed a man with dark hair and an easy smile, wearing a vintage band t-shirt. The same man from Melissa's wine night photo. I spent the next hour scrolling through his posts, feeling increasingly like a stalker, but unable to stop myself. Most of his content was work-related designed projects, sketches, thoughts on typography and color theory. Occasionally, there were photos with friends, pub nights, hiking trips. Then I found one from 6 weeks ago that made my stomach tighten. It was a photo of a coffee shop table 2 cups, 2 plates with half-eaten croissants, 2 sketchbooks open and facing each other. The caption, Best Kind of Monday, sketching with talented people who actually understand color theory. The photo itself showed nothing incriminating, but one of the sketchbooks, the one on the left, had a distinctive cover. Teal blue with gold constellation patterns. I recognized it immediately. I'd bought it for Elena last Valentine's Day. Part 4. The shortened trip. I should have confronted her. I should have called right then and asked direct questions, demanded honest answers. Instead, I obsessed. I created a fake Instagram account and scrolled through Jake's followers until I found Elena's profile. She followed him. He followed her back. The follows had been made 6 weeks ago, right around the time of that coffee shop photo. I looked through Elena's following list. She followed 247 people. Most of them were illustrators, authors, or other artists. Some were friends from college, family members, me, obviously, and Jake. When had they met? Melissa had been engaged to David for 2 years. Had Jake been in David's life all that time? Had Elena met him at some gathering I'd skipped because of work? The questions spiraled, each one feeding the next until I felt like I was drowning in them. On the 5th day of my trip, I made a decision. I'm coming home early. I told my colleague Tom during our morning coffee before meetings. Can you handle the closing presentations? I'll review everything tonight and brief you on the key points. Tom raised an eyebrow. Everything okay at home? Yeah, fine. Elena's not feeling well. I just want to be there. It was a lie. Elena hadn't mentioned feeling unwell. But Tom accepted it without question, and by noon, I'd rebooked my flight and transferred my files to his laptop. The flight back to Boston felt endless. I kept checking my phone, reading through old text messages between Elena and me, looking for clues I might have missed, rereading her words with new, suspicious eyes. Missing you. House feels too quiet without you. Just finished a new illustration. Can't wait to show you when you're home. Thinking about you. Hope the meetings went well. Were these the words of a cheating wife? Or was I manufacturing betrayal out of innocent coincidences and my own paranoid imagination? I landed in Boston at 4 p.m. Elena thought I wouldn't be home until tomorrow evening. I'd specifically not told her about the changed flight, some instinct, some deep-down need to see the truth without giving her time to prepare whatever mask she might wear for me. The Uber ride from the airport took 45 minutes. I spent them staring out the window, watching the familiar streets slide by, trying to calm my racing heart. Our apartment building looked the same as always. Red brick, black fire escape, small garden area out front where Mrs. Chen from 2B grew tomatoes in the summer. Normal, mundane, safe. I let myself in through the main door as quietly as possible, climbed the stairs to the third floor, and stopped outside our apartment door. Inside, I could hear music playing, something jazzy and slow. Elena's work music. She always said it helped her concentrate on detail work. I put my key in the lock and turned it slowly. The door opened. The living room was empty, bathed in late afternoon sunlight. Elena's sketchbook and tablet were on the coffee table, a half-finished illustration glowing on the screen, a whimsical forest scene with tiny creatures hiding among the roots of enormous trees. "Elena!" I called out, keeping my voice neutral. No answer. I set down my suitcase and walked toward the kitchen. Empty. The bedroom door was closed. My heart was pounding now, adrenaline flooding my system. Part of me wanted to turn around, wanted to walk back out and come back tomorrow as planned. Wanted to unknow whatever I was about to discover. But I reached for the bedroom door handle anyway. It was unlocked. The door swung open silently. Elena was lying on our bed, facing away from me, her phone held up in front of her. She was laughing at something on the screen, a soft, genuine laugh I hadn't heard in months. She was alone. Relief hit me so hard I felt dizzy. Alone. She was alone. I'd been wrong. I'd been paranoid and ridiculous and... Then she spoke. "Stop it," she said to the phone, still laughing. "You're terrible." There was a pause. She was on a video call. "I can't believe you actually did that," she continued. "Show me again?" Another pause, then more laughter, breathy and delighted. Okay, but seriously, I need to finish this illustration today. The publisher's already asking about it. Pause. Tomorrow? Her voice changed slightly, became softer. "Are you sure that's a good idea? Michael gets back Friday." My stomach dropped through the floor. I know, it feels risky." Pause. "Okay, 2:00 at the usual place. But Jake, we need to be careful. I can't..." I cleared my throat. Elena shot up from the bed so fast the phone flew from her hand and landed somewhere in the tangled comforter. Her face went white, then red, then white again. "Michael," she gasped, You're not supposed to be back until tomorrow." "Surprise," I said. My voice sounded strange to my own ears, flat, cold, dead. "I can explain. Who were you talking to?" "It's not what you think." "Who were you talking to?" She bent down and scrambled for the phone. But I was faster. I crossed the room in 3 strides and grabbed it from the mess of blankets. The video call was still connected. Jake Morrison's face filled the screen, his expression frozen somewhere between confusion and dawning horror. "Hey, man," he started. "Listen, this isn't..." I ended the call. The silence that followed was absolute. Elena stood at the foot of the bed, trembling. I stood by the window, her phone in my hand, feeling like I was watching this scene from somewhere far away. "How long?" I finally asked. "Michael, please, let me..." "How long?" She sank down onto the bed, her hands covering her face. 6 weeks, she whispered. Part 5. The truth. The thing about betrayal is that it doesn't announce itself with drama. There was no thrown vase, no screaming match, no dramatic exit. We just sat there, Elena on the bed, me on the chair by the window, while the light faded outside and the shadows grew longer across our bedroom floor. "Tell me everything," I said. "From the beginning." She did. It had started at Melissa's birthday dinner 7 weeks ago, the one I'd missed because of a crisis at work, some emergency that had seemed so critical at the time, but that I could barely remember now. Jake was David's best friend. He'd been at the dinner. Elena had been seated next to him. They discovered they were both illustrators. He did graphic design. She did children's books. They'd talked shop all night, exchanged Instagram handles, promised to get coffee sometime to talk about the industry. It was innocent at first, Elena said, her voice small. I swear it was. We met for coffee that Monday, just two professionals networking. The coffee shop photo. She looked up sharply. You saw that? I saw a lot of things. Keep going. Yee. She twisted her hands in her lap. We started meeting regularly, once a week, then twice. We'd sketch together, talk about projects. He was helping me develop my style, teaching me digital techniques I didn't know. It was just creative collaboration. But it wasn't just that. No, she admitted. It wasn't. Somewhere along the way, it became more. I don't even know when exactly. There wasn't a moment where I decided to cross a line. It was gradual. A hand that lingered too long when passing a pencil. Texts that got more personal. Conversations that went deeper. Did you sleep with him? The question hung in the air between us. No, she said finally. But I wanted to, and I think that's almost worse. Because I chose to want someone else. I chose to develop feelings, to nurture them, to let them grow. I didn't know if I believed her about the sex, but looking at her face, at the genuine shame and confusion there, I thought maybe I did. Why? I asked. What did I do wrong? Nothing, she said immediately. Then, after a pause, everything. That's helpful. Michael, when's the last time we had a real conversation? Not about bills or schedules or who needs to buy groceries, but a real conversation. When's the last time you asked me about my work, my dreams, how I was feeling? I opened my mouth to respond, then closed it. I couldn't remember. Do you know what I worked on last week? She continued, her voice gaining strength. I illustrated an entire picture book about a lonely lighthouse keeper. It's the best work I've ever done. My editor cried when she saw it. And I wanted to show you, wanted to share that pride with you, but you were so focused on the Henderson deal that I knew you'd just say, "That's great, honey," without really looking. That's not fair. I've always supported your work. You've always been politely supportive, she corrected. There's a difference. Jake looked at my work like it mattered, like I mattered. He asked questions. He challenged me. He saw me as an artist, not just as your wife who happens to draw. So this is my fault? I didn't pay enough attention, so you started an emotional affair? No, she said firmly. This is my fault. I made the choices. I crossed the lines. I'm not trying to blame you. I'm trying to explain how it happened, how I let myself become someone I don't recognize. We sat with that for a while. What did you talk about? I asked. With him. What did you talk about that you couldn't talk about with me? She thought about it. Art, books, childhood dreams, fears. That feeling of being 32 and wondering if you've already lived your best years. Whether it's too late to be the person you thought you'd become. You could have talked to me about those things. Could I? She looked at me directly for the first time since I'd walked in. Really? Because every time I tried to have a deep conversation, you'd check your phone, or you'd listen for 30 seconds and then redirect to something practical. That's interesting. But have you thought about... Maybe you should. You'd try to fix problems I wasn't asking you to fix. I didn't want solutions. Michael, I wanted to be heard. The words hit harder than I expected, because she was right. I was a fixer. It was what made me good at my job seeing problems, finding solutions, implementing them efficiently. But relationships weren't corporate acquisitions. People weren't problems to be solved. I'm sorry, I said, and I meant it. I'm sorry I made you feel unheard. I'm sorry I stopped really seeing you. But, Elena, there's a big difference between feeling neglected and developing feelings for someone else. I know, she whispered. I know, and I hate myself for it. Jake made me feel alive again. He made me feel interesting, creative, seen. And I got addicted to that feeling. Even knowing it was wrong, knowing it would hurt you, I kept going back. Are you in love with him? The question surprised us both. I don't know, she said after a long moment. I have feelings for him. Strong feelings. But I don't know if it's love or just infatuation, excitement, the thrill of something new and forbidden. Do you love me? Her eyes filled with tears. Yes. God, Michael, yes, I never stopped loving you. That's what makes this so awful. I love you, and I hurt you anyway. Part 6. The Aftermath. We didn't make any big decisions that night. We couldn't. We were both too raw, too exhausted, too overwhelmed by the weight of what had been revealed. I slept on the couch, or rather, I lay on the couch staring at the ceiling while the hours crawled by. From the bedroom, I could hear Elena crying softly. Part of me wanted to go to her, to comfort her. A larger part wanted to pack a bag and leave and never come back. But I did neither. I just lay there, replaying the last few months in my mind, seeing all the signs I'd missed. How she'd started dressing differently, how she'd seemed happier, more energized, how she'd stopped initiating sex but was gentler with me in other ways, as if her guilt was leaking out in small kindnesses. How had I not seen it? Because I wasn't looking. Because I was comfortable. Because I'd assumed that marriage meant you'd reached the finish line, that the work was done. In the morning, I found her at the kitchen table, 2 cups of coffee already poured. Her eyes were red and swollen, but she'd showered and dressed. She looked simultaneously younger and older than her 31 years. We need to talk about what happens next, she said. I know. I'll end it with Jake. Today, I'll tell him we can't see each other anymore, can't talk. I'll block him on everything. Will you mean it? Or will you unblock him in a week when you're feeling lonely again? The harshness in my voice made her flinch, but she didn't look away. I'll mean it, she said. Michael, I know I've broken your trust. I know saying I'm sorry isn't enough, but if you're willing to try to work through this, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And if I'm not? If I want a divorce? She took a shaky breath. Then I'll understand, and I won't fight you on it. I looked at her, really looked at her for the first time in months, at the woman I'd married 4 years ago in a garden ceremony while her mother cried, and my father made jokes about ball and chains. The woman who'd held my hand through my father's funeral last year, who'd stayed up all night helping me prepare for the biggest presentation of my career, who'd learned to make my grandmother's recipe for chicken soup when I was sick, the woman who'd betrayed me, the woman I still loved. I don't know what I want, I admitted. Part of me wants to throw you out. Part of me wants to pretend this never happened. And part of me wants to understand how we got here and whether we can find our way back. Which part is winning? I don't know yet. We sat in silence, drinking coffee that had gone cold. I think we need help, Elena said finally. Professional help. A therapist who specializes in this kind of thing. I wanted to reject the idea out of pride. The notion that we needed a stranger to fix our marriage felt like admitting failure. But what was the alternative? Stumbling through this alone, making it up as we went along, possibly destroying each other in the process. Okay, I said. We'll find someone. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. I'm not promising I can forgive you. I'm not even promising I'll try. I'm just not ready to give up without at least trying. She nodded, and I saw relief flicker across her face. I need you to understand something, I continued. This doesn't mean everything's okay. It doesn't mean we're going back to normal. I'm angry, Elena. I'm furious. I'm hurt in ways I didn't know I could hurt. And I don't know how long it'll take for that to fade, if it ever does. I understand. And I need space. Physical space. I can't share a bed with you right now. Maybe not for a long time. Of course. I can sleep in the guest room. No, you keep the bedroom. I'll take the guest room. Michael, that's not... It's what I need, I said firmly. Okay? She nodded again, and we fell back into silence. Later that day, I went for a walk. While she called Jake to end things. I didn't want to be there for that conversation. Didn't want to hear her voice when she spoke to him. Didn't want to torture myself with wondering whether she'd cry, or whether he'd fight for her, or whether some part of her would regret letting him go. I walked for hours, through our neighborhood and beyond, barely seeing where I was going. People passed me on the sidewalk, couples holding hands, families with strollers, joggers with expensive headphones. Normal people living normal lives, unaware that someone's world was crumbling right beside them on this ordinary Tuesday afternoon. When I finally came back, Elena was sitting on the couch, her phone face down on the coffee table. "It's done," she said. "I told him everything, that you found out, that I'm ending it, that we're going to try to work on our marriage. He was understanding and sorry. He says he never meant to—" She stopped, seeing my expression. "Sorry, you don't want to hear about his feelings." "No," I agreed. "I don't." I blocked him on everything. Phone, social media, email. I even blocked David and Melissa because I know he's friends with them, and I don't want any possibility of contact. "Melissa's your cousin." "I know, but she's also how I met Jake, and I need to make a clean break. I can reach out to her later and explain. Right now, I need to prove to you that I'm serious." It was the right gesture, the right words, but I felt nothing, just numbness. "Okay," I said. I also found a therapist, Dr. Sarah Chen. She specializes in infidelity and couples counseling. She can see us Friday at 4 if that works with your schedule. "I'll make it work." And I've been thinking, maybe we should tell people? Not everyone, but close friends or family. Having support. "No," I said sharply. "Not yet. I'm not ready for everyone to know. Not ready for the looks of pity or the questions or the judgment." "Okay, whatever you need." The words were right. Her actions were right. But there was a disconnect, a wall that had sprung up between us. We were like actors learning our lines, going through the motions of reconciliation without fully inhabiting the roles. That's when I realized this was going to take a very long time. Part 7. Therapy. Dr. Sarah Chen's office was in a converted brownstone in Cambridge, the kind of place with hardwood floors and plants in every corner and abstract art on the walls. She was younger than I'd expected, maybe late 30s, with short black hair and kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. "Thank you both for coming," she said, after we'd settled into the soft chairs across from her desk. "I know this is difficult. Before we begin, I want to establish some ground rules. This is a safe space. What's said here stays here. We speak honestly but respectfully. And most importantly, we remember that we're all on the same team, the team trying to heal this relationship." Elena nodded eagerly. I just stared at the botanical print above Dr. Chen's head. "Michael," Dr. Chen said gently, "how are you feeling right now?" "How do you think I'm feeling?" The words came out harsher than I'd intended. "Sorry, I don't know how to answer that question." "That's okay. Let me ask a different way. What's the hardest part of this for you?" I thought about it. The hardest part is that I don't know what's real anymore. 4 years of marriage, and I thought I knew her. Thought I knew us. Now I'm looking back at every moment, every conversation, and wondering what else I missed. Was she thinking about him when we had dinner together? When we made love? When she said she loved me? I wasn't, Elena said quickly. "Michael, I swear, when I was with you, I was with you. He was separate, a different part of my life." "How is that supposed to make me feel better? That you compartmentalized cheating on me?" Dr. Chen held up a hand. "Let's pause there. I hear a lot of pain in both of your voices. Elena, I hear you trying to explain. Michael, I hear you trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. Let me ask you both something. Do you want this marriage to survive?" "Yes," Elena said immediately. I hesitated. "I don't know. I want that. But right now, I mostly just feel angry." "Anger is healthy," Dr. Chen said. "Anger,